Continuing to learn Hilchos Tefillin. We are holding page Tzadik Aleph. Page Tzadik Aleph, Sif Yud Aleph. Shir Oirich Haritzua Shel Tefillin Shel Yad Kedei Shetakif Es Hazroya. How long does the strap of the tefillin need to be for the Ritzua? It needs to be that you're able to tie around the arm one time to make a knot there. The timtech achas at etzban seis. You have to schlep from here all the way to your middle finger. You put it 3 times around your middle finger. And you make a kesher inside. After the 3 times, you tie it.
The 3 times is shin? And the finger.
I don't know. It's not shin. I don't know what the 3 is. Something up Kabbalah. No, again, you base lichrech sabev haperek shebenayad lahamarpek zayin klippus. A minig, not minhadin. The minig is to put it around your arm 7 times. V'yesh lichrech beperek hatachten shala etzban soi base kliches beperek yoyin klichai. When it comes to the middle finger, we should go around on the bottom 2 times and on the top 1 time. What we do is Api Kabbalah. We do first 1 time on the bottom, then the top, and then back to the bottom.
Tefillin was in the middle? What's tefillin?
Yeah. So the question is, which Pashi is that inside? No, also that the Parshas were said at different times. Right. They didn't have right away. All the Torah was being given then. They didn't have all the Parshas.
In Metzada, they found out tefillin. They say it's 1,000 years old, and it's exactly the same Rashi that we use now.
Yeah.
Where?
Metzada.
Metzada.
And they need the
when did they find this?
I want to say she invested in the University here in Yerushalayim. Many years ago. I saw pictures from them.
How do you know it's 2,000 years?
That's when Matzada happened.
They needed like
very crucial.
Etc.
Yeah, can break. Not to
open it, to change the Pashas.
Now, Sif Yud Gimel. Ein lichreich haritzua al titura kedei lachaska lahatka alayat. You should not take the ritzua and put it on the titura. Titura means the front part. Over here. You tie it over here in the back part.
The other side of it.
And the other, that's the mabarta, where the derech maiver, the ritzua goes through, is called mabarta. And here the front is called titura. You shouldn't put it over onto the titura to hold it onto the hand. Alatehei atfilin shel yad yud gimel sif yud gimel tluya umanachas ala kibayris. Ke'ein tfilin shel areish ala areish. You should let it sit there, just like the tefillin shel areish. The ritzua is coming out from the back. There's nothing in the front. So the tefillin shel yad kivin she'ein mitzvah klal b'kricha zu, v'chein ein lahanicha Al titura shish by kedusha yois min. If there was a tzarech for it, a mitzvah in it is one thing. But there's no mitzvah to wrap one over there. And over here, we try to make the shin, so we do a third tie.
Right.
But in the front, there's no mitzvah to tie on the front part to put it on the bayis, on the potato. So don't do it because the Torah has more kedusha than the Ritzua. So you're putting something with a lesser kedusha on a higher kedusha. You know, like we put on a shulchan, we don't put on top of a chumash.
Kiboret is the muscles.
Yeah,
This is the muscles.
yeah.
What about the people who put the film this way?
Yeah, I saw something.
Like they put the film this also, what they do over here? Themselves. And the first thing to the what they do there? They make the ball right tight, then what they do? Sit down.
I think that
First they do it this way, and when you come here and stuff.
the lachatchila, the kasha, they're pulling it this way.
I'll check them out. I see the nice shoe done.
Now, Sif Yudalit, Bein Ein Necha, Ha'amar b'tfilin shorosh, when it says in the Torah, Bein Ein Necha, by the tfilin shorosh, Zahu goy v'shabrosh. It means on top over here. Maybe it means Beinanecha literally.
Or you can put it.
Nemar kan Beinanecha. Nemar lahal simu korcha Beinanecha. It says by the koyanim, you should not put a korcha Beinanecha. Korcha means a kereach, a bald spot.
Bold.
You can't make a bald spot Beinanecha. Beinanecha means over here. Malahalon, just like over there, begoiv the Beinanecha means begoiv shebebreish b'makim sheisa karcha. Afkan begoiv shebebreish b'makim sheisa karcha, the place where if you took the hair away, it would be a bald spot. B'tzarech li is top of tzadik beis, so li is kol atfilin b'makim sheisa karcha. The tefillin shebebreish need to be entirely in that mucking where there's hair. You have to put it not and nowhere on the forehead, only in the place where it can make a karfa. And she could say hatachtin titura, the bottom half of the titura. The titura means that front of the tefillin shorosh. Yemunach hamakoyim hasfalas ikore hasar b'mitzvah. It should put where the roots of the hair that are sitting on your forehead. Not the ending of that hair, the root of it. The nimshach hamakim aroivi is tefillin shorosh ad soif makim nishemoiche shaltinik roifes.
What about Kirchen?
The hainu shetzei ha'elyin shal tefillin lo yemunach l'mayla makim shemoiche shaltinik roifes.
What about the Kirchen?
You're not supposed to have your tefillin. Many people make a mistake and they wear the tefillin low. Or sometimes the tefillin are slipping down. That's a problem because it's not in the mokim she'oisa karcha. Even the bottom of the titura should be above and not where the ending of the side is, where the hair comes out. Mokim the smichas asitis higher. How far back does it have to be? It shouldn't be more than the makim shatinik rev, is the area, the soft area where a baby has a soft area that goes in, not further back than that. So you don't want to push the tefillin back. You want it to be just right there at the end. Shouldn't go further back.
Somebody has karachat.
If you estimate where it was. So that's what happened. Someone wrote to the Rebbe once, and he said, "You know, the Rebbe, your tefillin, they're very low. You look in the, I see when you're wearing the tefillin.
Quarter is in the air.
It's very low." So the Rebbe responded to him that two things. Number one, you don't know where my hairline is because the Rebbe didn't have any hair. He was older. He had no hair. So you don't know where my hairline was. And I had a low hairline. So second thing he says, sometimes my tefillin could have slipped while I was davening. It could be slipped down. So that doesn't. When I push it, I have to push it back up. That's vav. Sorry, she akasha shetfilin shalosh. La'achaydesh harosh. L'mayla begoyva oirev. What about the back of the tefillin shalosh? The kesher of the tefillin shalosh. The dalit of the tefillin shalosh should be in the back of the head, high up on the height of the neck. To Seif Hagugelos, the ending of the skull, the person's skull. Who can negative on it's the area and the height of the neck which is opposite the face. Not lower down in the neck, which is opposite the throat. It's high up at the bottom of the Gogelos. So sometimes people are pushing it's too big and it's going all the way down. It's not supposed to be going all the way down.
The top is good, but the bottom one it goes
It has to be sitting right there at the bottom of the Seif Hagogelos. Tzarech sheyeh kesher be'emtza ha'iref, v'lo yita l'kan, not to the sides. Also explaining that it has to be in the middle. Yeah. Sifid Zayim, tzarech sheyeh ha'mokim shebekesher shenira kein dalid, tzad chutz v'lo klape ha'iref. We know that kesher is supposed to look like a dalid. You have a shin on the bayis. On both sides of the bayis, you have a shin on the tefillin shalosh. You have a dalad in the kesher, and then we have a yud on the tefillin shalyad. So it says that part near the dalad should be to the outside. The way the kesher should be made, should the outside you should be a kesher dalad. Not it should be flipped in a way that when you look at it from the outside you see the dalad. V'hu adim bekesher tefillin shal yud is she's happy. Also, the tefillin shal yud, tefillin yad, when you have the yud there, the yud over here, you shouldn't have it going that way. It should be outward. Yud ches, sarich l'chaven aksisa, shetehei be'emsa reicha v'reish. Tzitza is the base of the tefillin, the bottom of the tefillin, should be in middle of the head. Sheshei sheneged vein hanayim should be exactly in the middle. Therefore, it's best that the kesher of the tefillin shalosh should be higher up, like we spoke earlier, in order that you should be able to make sure that it's in the middle. Yutas sarach sheyeh yatzad hashocher shetehei shvetzui tzad haguf. Chutz. Is hapfu or tzuis beim tefillin shalyad beim tefillin shalosh. The nepchu b'shoigig midas chasidus leis. We need to have the black part of the tefillin should be to the outside of the tzuis. By the way, min hadin, the bottom don't need to be black.
Everybody does.
We do it. It's noi for the tefillin. But the tzuis, halacha l'moshe misinai, has to be painted black.
I never saw any other color.
The tzuis have to be black.
No, I'm saying I never saw fair.
Right. Now, if it flipped over, it's a problem. So, ve'ein lahakbish liyishapchu in the middle of your test, l'mashe makif es harosh v'sekibayit tamachas. The ikar part that we have to be concerned with should not flip over is in the first time that you tie it around the arm and around the rosh, not what hangs out or what you tie around the arm. That's not the ikar. This that you wrap further times around. Also, what comes down from tefillin shorosh, ein zolahak b'klal shleis hapech lefi she'enon mi'ikar hamitzvah. It's not the ikar hamitzvah, and therefore you don't need to be makbid. L'maisa, we are makbid. Al Rebbe says you don't need to be makbid because it's not the ikr mitzvah. L'payil, the oilam is careful that the tzuas here should stay the black out, not in. Also over here, everything should be the black out and the white in. Even though in Shulchan Aruch, it says that me'ikr hadin, it's okay.
Maybe some people would try to paint the feeling that so it's inside and outside. Yeah. In case you turn on, so it doesn't upset down like that. I don't think it's discovered. You know what I'm talking about?
Um,
That's you.
some want to point out when it came earlier, we learned a few simanim earlier, Siman Chafei, that some had the bracha of the Tefillin Shel Yad is also going on the Tefillin Shel Reish. Therefore, you're not supposed to be mafsik between them. So therefore, they were api shulchan aruch, api din. It says you shouldn't wrap around your arm until you put on your Tefillin Shel Reish. Because since this is only a minig, it's not the ikar mitzvah. So really, your Tefillin Shel Yad you put on your arm, you should right away go to your Tefillin Shel Reish, not to make a hefsek.
And then the 7 kids.
Then do the 7 krichts. L'maisa, the Arizal didn't do that. He went first, and he did it on the Tefillin Shel Yad,
Beside the fingers.
and then you put on the Tefillin Shel Reish.
That's what we do. You did till here. We'll finish it all. Then you do fingers.
Yeah. Now the reason for this is because he held that the kricha wrapping around the arm is part of the mitzvah. So based on that, there could be more of a svara that if that is part of the mitzvah, that it should taka be black the outside. A lot of people today became a fad the last years.
But it went itself.
Yeah, the last while that people are putting the tefillah, making both sides of the tefillah black. Many years ago, this was not the case. No one did that. But at a certain point, I don't know if it was 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I don't know exactly when it started coming, maybe from Eretz Yisrael, where people started being makbid to both sides. And one of the reasons is also because there is, they say, some of the Seifrim say, that, a lot of times the paint of the Ritzua comes off, peels off. But they say and people are not careful to repaint it. So they say that when you dip the whole thing into the dye, and it's black and black through and through, it doesn't lose right. So they say, but Amol, the minig was not that way to make it black on both sides. And some people today do, some people don't.
Yeah, but the attitude was low quality product.
What?
Reason that this happens is to sell you low quality product. Yeah.
Okay.
If they find an excuse.
I want to tell you something which we're going to learn eventually, but Lamaisa, the important to remember when you do paint your ritzuis. Some people have their markers and their little. You should say before you do it, l'shem kedushas tefillin, with your mouth. Say l'shem kedushas tefillin because you're supposed to paint it l'shma for the sake of the mitzvah. Just like they do by the matzah bakery, they say l'shem matzah's mitzvah. We say l'shem kedushas tefillin before we do it. And if you didn't, you forgot to say it, paint it over that area again. Say l'shem kedushas tefillin before you do it, because you're supposed to say l'shem kedushas tefillin, not just in your mind, but there's an inyan that you should verbalize it with your mouth. Maybe even b'diavad. So therefore, do it again. Sivchach. But the Meiser Rabbi say, since api halacha, you don't need to be careful if the Ritzui is flipped over. You don't need to go over to people in the middle of davening and telling them, people going all around shul, telling them that the Ritzua over here, it's okay. The person will notice it, will take care of it. It's not something that you have to be on top of it as much. Sivcha. Yishalshul haritzuei shel tefillin shoreish yitulim milfanit. The ritzui, so the tefillin shoreish, should not just stay around your head, al harosh, but you should have them come down in front. The kiblu hageoinim. The geoinim have a kabbalah, a messiah. Shetzarech shigia ad hatabor should reach till the stomach, or a little bit higher.
Longer.
Yeah. The mice we do it. The minig is that we do it until down to the feet, not to the bottom of the feet, but to your feet.
Pretty long.
How wide does the ritzua need to be? How many centimeters? How wide? Kiblu haga'onim. Again, the ga'onim over here refers to those Toiskim that were lived before the times of the Shainim, before the Rambam and the Rif and the Ramban were the Ga'onim of Hai Goin, of Shiri Goin, of Sadi Goin. They were Ga'onim. They had a Masorah, Sheikh Oirech Sa'oilapach, should be the width of a barley bean. The width of a barley bean, the length of a barley bean should be the width of the ritzua. Sometimes it has
1 centimeter.
1 centimeter.
Okay.
Yes. According to Chaim, no, 1 centimeter. Should at least 1 centimeter.
Why is it larger?
They make them larger because sometimes people pull them tight. Eventually get smaller and smaller. So some tefillin that people are using for many, many years and they did not change the ritzua, there could sometimes be a section which is very thin. So you have to see if it measures, like you're saying, 1 centimeter. Just to take a measuring. If not, it's a problem. The ikr place that it would be a problem would be obviously in the ikr place would be here and around the head. Ikr halacha. Sivchof Aleph in Pichis Mishir. If you made it smaller, the length of a tefillin shoreish, meaning when it went down, it didn't go all the way down to the top or you made the width of the ritzuis not as wide as a barley bean. Bein betfillin shoyah, bein betfillin shoyishim, eini moitzi ritzuis acheres manichin kamay sheim b'shekol Hashem alolu loy nisku b'kamar. You still wear the tefillin. If you don't have other tefillin to wear, you wear those tefillin. Reason being, even though the Geonim had this as a Kabbalah, as a Messiah, however, it doesn't say it in Gemara. Something which it doesn't say clearly in Gemara, we are not bechuyev to. Something it's not clearly in Gemara has a different status. For example, it doesn't say in Gemara that we should mention Moedid Hatol or the words Mashiv HaRuach, meaning Tal and Ruchos. It doesn't say in Gemara. It's a minig that we mention during the summertime, Moedid Hatol. And we say in the winter, we add the word Mashiv HaRuach. So the Gemara discusses Geshamim, asking for Geshamim. In Gemara Tainus, when we ask for Geshamim, we don't ask for Geshamim. However, that we should mention Hashem brings Tal, Du, or Ruches, blows the wind, it's not in Gemara. It's a minute. And therefore, if we miss that out, we're not chayzer. Furthermore, we know that during the Yamim Neroim, we add during that Seretz Tshuva, we add different parts. Hamelach Hakadosh, Hamelach Hamishpat. We add Zechreinu, Melech Chafetz B'Chaim. We have Soy B'Chaim Toivim B'Sefer. We add additions. Melech HaKadosh and Melech HaMishpat is mentioned in the Mishnayos. However, the other four come from the Geonim, and they're not mentioned in Gemara. So therefore, if you didn't say those four extra additions, you're not Chozer. You don't go back. So over here, if you don't find other tefillin, you wear those tefillin because these shiurim does not say in the Gemara that the width of a ritzua has to be the size of the length of a barley bean. Doesn't say that in Gemara. And it does not say that the ritzuis of the tefillin shoreish have to be all the way down to the tabor. Doesn't say. Sif Chav Beis, the top of page Sada Gimel. Avon ein b'ritzuis tefillin shoreish ba'arakon. Kidei shiyu mishulash and lofan afil ma'at psulim b'shizeh niskibah Gemara. The ritzuis of the tefillin shoreish do need to come down.
How much?
In front.
How much?
A little bit.
No.
But if it doesn't come down even a little bit in front, it's possible, because that does say in the Gemara. The Gemara Menachos does tell us that that's how it has to be.
You finish by the kesef, but by the kesef.
No, I mean,
Or here maybe even.
here.
But it won't come to the front of your, not enough to come to the front. To the front, that's a problem. Because that the Gemara Menachos does say. Sivchav Gimel, Tefillin Shoreish Toiv Yoisem Geluyim V'Nirim. It's appropriate that the Tefillin Shoreish should be visible. You shouldn't cover them over with your talis. K'bay Shenema V'Ro Kol Amei Aretz Yishem Hashem Nikra Alecha. How are the nations of the world going to see that Hashem's name is written on you? What you have it written, you have the tzitz. We don't have a tzitz. We're not the Kohen Gadol. The Darish Razal, Elu Tefillin Shabaraish, Chazal said this pasuk is saying they would wear tefillin a whole day, remember. So this was a sign of a Yid. The Yid went around, he went to a meeting, he went places, he had tefillin on. This was like a yarmulke, you wore tefillin. This was like a sign of a Yid. L'chein shizar shevachasis legamri as a tefillin shel roish tal. You should not fully enclose. You could put the back of it, but not to fully cover the tefillin shel roish. Rak shetehei megula ktsas. You wanted to say something? They cover entirely?
It's not good. Yeah, right. So that up, it would cover the whole tefillin. Right.
Overall. What's right?
Well, don't see how it's short.
Okay, that's gonna help.
They do it only by Rabbeinu Tam?
Or maybe we're having a time.
It was small serving and really
Ah.
tolerable.
So it could be in Kabbalah there's dissenting views.
I said we compare.
The same time,
Same
yeah.
time?
Yeah.
Rabbeinu Tam.
Yeah, I saw that. I was
Schnell raus. Rachem Kashem.
Some, the ones that wear smaller tefillin, they wear Rabbeinu Tam also. Some of them wear it together at the same time.
What's it?
Also there you see them do too? And how to do the straps.
Very strange.
Tefillin Shalyat, you see also?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Because it's smaller, and there is makim, it says in Gemara, there's makim for two tefillin in that spot. But you have to make them smaller. You can't wear the Lubavitch tefillin, it's not going to work.
It's like thinking, I'm Gallican. So like, so we cover.
Rabbeinu Tam.
Yeah, opposite.
Now, no, when we paint it tefillin.
Oh, the painters.
the Ritzuos. Often we sometimes forget, we're painting, we forget to say verbally, L'shem Kedushas Tefillin. There is in the Rishonim bring that there's a suffix whether you need to, something needs to be L'shma, you need to say it verbally. So we say like L'shem Matzos Mitzvah. So we say before we paint it that we're doing it L'shem Kedushas Tefillin. You should do it because really the touch-up might not be really mechuyev al pidin. But you should say it because what happens if the other parts come off and this becomes the ikr? Meaning, if you're doing a little spot, a pidin, that spot doesn't necessarily really need to be black. Meaning it's more the shleimness of the mitzvah, but the ikr is it looks black. I mean, have a little tiny white spot, you're really painting it. It's not really halacha necessary. So you're right. Technically, you don't need to say it. However, it's good to say it because eventually you're going to paint an area, and maybe the areas around go. You're relying on that spot. If you need that spot, you should say l'shem kedushas tefillin.
What's the minhag when they make cut the Sefer Torah? They take the killing it and take the all the proper Tefillin.
I would assume it's pashat because you should be able to have a good grasp on tefillin. You shouldn't chas v'shalom fall.
You put it back.
I don't know. But you should be able to hold on to it
So I
properly.
think that they do it.
They don't take off.
Because they don't have kind of Sefer Torah.
They close this.
It's holding back this.
Oh, right now you have the answer. The Sfardim don't, the Shkadim don't because of this.
Yeah, some people don't take it all. Some people take it all.
Right? We see clearly that it's not. This is the reason. It has to do with what people feel, how comfortable they are, in holding the Sefer Torah. Chav Daled. Avol Talmud b'fnei Rabbi, a student is standing in front of his Rebbe. Ein derech eretz galas hatfilin shorosh b'fanim. It's not derech eretz that he should wear tefillin shorosh in front of him. Shel yishva atzan Rabbi. He should not compare himself to his Rebbe. My Rebbe puts on tefillin. I have tefillin. L'nidei ka'azis panim. Shatfilin derech kovet. K'meshuk omar kosav v'ro kol amiyot. It's like a badge of honor, of kovet. And here, you are wearing tefillin in front of your Rebbe. However, he clarifies, this is only when they used to wear tefillin a whole day. Then, when you're near your Rebbe, you should cover your tefillin shalosh. The Oz then most people Reiva Oilam do not wear tefillin a whole day. You're going to wear tefillin a whole day, and you're showing it in front of your Rebbe that I'm also a big macher. I have my tefillin all day on. That's what we call mechzik yuara. It's showing off. It's sort of like showy. We don't appreciate that showiness. So therefore, when you're near your Rebbe, show some anivus, bittul to yourself, and cover it. They have to show that, ich bin oichet a greise mahader and a machmin. Aber b'shas kriya shmei tefillah is different. Because even that koil minichatum, everyone's wearing tefillin. This is not a special thing that you're doing. There's no mechzik yura that you're wearing tefillin by kriya shmei tefillah. Shkoyach, halab, everyone does that. Oz ein kan yura klal, mutter l'galoisam b'fnei rabbi. Then you're allowed to expose your tefillin in front of your Rebbe. You don't need to cover it. Okay. Siv Chav Ches. Simin Chav Ches. Din Chalitzas Hatfilin, taking off of the tefillin above Yud Sifin. Also, Asiach Daiti Matfilin calls man Shen Olav Afilu Rega Echod. Kalvachoyme Mitzitz Matzitz Shein Bei Ela Askara Achas Amra Toira Vahoya Mitzvah Tamid means you shouldn't have a hesach hadas from it. The entire time you're wearing, you don't wear the tzitz always. The Kohen Gadol doesn't always wear the tzitz. It means when he's wearing it, should Tamid have it in mind. Here it just said Kodesh LaHashem, one Shem Hashem. However, the tefillin sheyesh ben askaras harbeitz is there's many shemas of Hashem in the tefillin. Al achas kama v'kama, you have to keep it in mind. What is considered hesach hadas? Only when I'm making jokes and I'm light-headed talk. Or even you're not in a state of stoik and kalas roish, but your mind is so busy with yitzorach haguf, with things that have to do with your bodily necessities, that your mind is totally off of Yira Shemayim. Totally. However, if you have standing with respect, even though you're doing work, you're doing your craftsman work, your work that you do, you're not really thinking about tefillin the whole time, you're thinking about your business. How are they able to go with tefillin the whole day? If that was a hesach hadas, and you're not allowed to have hesach hadas, how were they wearing tefillin those days the whole day? They were until the evening. They wore tefillin the whole day. So we can't say that's hesach hadas. People are not malachim. They're working. They're doing things. A person still a mitzvah and a mufcha to try as much as you could to keep your mind on the tefillin, not to do other things while you're wearing tefillin. Besides for during learning and davening. Learning and davening, you have to concentrate on your learning. Can't think about the tefillin. Well, when you're davening, you have to concentrate on essay. Can't think about your tefillin. Think about your davening, your Shemon Esrei. During your work, it's okay if you think about your tefillin. During your work, you're allowed to think about it.
Wow. I don't think today puts it in the whole thing.
Yeah, in Eretz Yisrael, there are some
I see
people.
people learning, and after davening, they sit and they sit another hour, but not the full day. People are kufnoki, people are masakadat.
At what time those people used to work during the whole day? What?
Up until what?
Yeah. What?
Good question.
Generation and all that? Like,
Didn't telephone care about.
Zman Chazal for sure.
no.
Zman Chazal for sure.
Which is
Times of the Gemara, definitely.
oh.
When exactly did it stop? I would have to look into it.
Well, there's that pictures of them wrong. Of
Maybe
being the whole day.
Maybe to get off.
maybe there were certain yichidim, certain tzaddikim,
Let's see.
Maybe today there's something.
but not as a klal, not as
That's
a.
outside.
Yeah.
That's better.
Shilas, when exactly did as a klal did it stop? Well,
I see sometimes in the morning people that drink coffee while we davening. No, they just put the shit in.
Pidin, you're allowed. Pidin, you're allowed.
Like in Bubble, for sure they were going to fill the whole day.
How's that not something to do? As long as you're not so involved in it, it's such a geschmack herring. You might be a siach das.
You really push. It's my different talent. Yeah, you really push. It's a very bad challenge. No, the eat it, yeah. And then it's drinking, yeah, but not eating.
Minadin, you're allowed. I think it says that when they would come to the Suda, the Chachamim would take off the tefillin when they come to the Suda. But when you something small, but you don't see people doing it. People are take off the tefillin when it comes to eating.
You're standing in front of Mela. Stand there by there and take a cup.
You have to remember, then they're wearing tefillin the whole day. So how?
There is no other choice.
You were saying at moments like
You sometimes see people taking a drink with tefillin.
Drink and say, yeah, say, people in the morning have coffee while they daven. Otherwise they fall asleep. No.
Maybe some people they get very
That's what giving.
dehydrated. They need to drink a lot, always constantly taking sips.
Right.
You have some people like this. So they make a shahakal in the beginning, and they always
More and more.
For the whole hour.
I'm not saying that this is for everyone to do. Sometimes people get a heter for something they need to do. They don't need to do it in front of everyone. If you're allowed to eat tonight, tomorrow is a fast day, you're allowed to eat. You don't have to go in front of everyone and come into shul and open up a whole sushi bar here. You go and eat what you need to eat. You do what you need to do. You're allowed, and you have to eat. You have to eat, no problem. But we don't have to always do it, because then people feel, oh, look, he's doing this. Look, he's a chashuv person. He's doing this. I respect him.
They might also.
I was saying people think it's okay to do certain things, and you have a specific situation that allows for whatever heter it might be that you're have a shas fact, have some meruba, b'diavad, whatever it might be, a chayla. But you don't have to.
You don't keep checking the holiday. You don't see somebody driving outside the car.
You're not supposed to, right?
Even though in his house he could turn the light on or whatever.
What time the time it started?
Well, what time is? What's his man parents in the morning?
We're going to 4:04.
Or a lot of the feelings. Okay. Great crowd and great.
Round 4. So
You're being fast.
There's two ways of doing it. Either wake up very, very early.
much harder in the summertime. It's much harder.
This is the longest
What
one.
about the Russian?
Shiva says the longest, no?
You're being fast. You're being
I was there.
Right? You fast Tisha B'Av to Ramadan?
Tisha B'Av, I was in a place in Siberia. We were running a camp. And by the way, the camp is not like a Hamish camp. So, you have to take care of these kids. It was an overnight kids, and the kids weren't broke. So there was no break for us because we were fasting. We were fasting till 12 o'clock at night because it didn't become dark till 12 o'clock at night.
To feed the kid.
10:30 was sunset. 12 o'clock was Seisek Yicham.
Wow.
12 o'clock at night. I remember that
How many hours?
well, a hot summer day, it's very difficult. Hot summer day,
You can't do nothing with the kid.
they don't have air conditioning over there.
Yeah, it's for like 27 hours, 28 hours.
Wow. Like a torture. I should be super.
I remember Shavasa B'Tammuz. This Mamish Shavasa B'Tammuz, I remember then. Yeah, it's the same amount of hours, wise, but it's more daytime hours.
When it's
Harder because it's the daytime hours.
hours later, no.
The morning is very early. There's a very short night. We had maybe like a 2-hour night, maybe 2:30. I remember it was hard, like 2:30 already. It was dawn. It was light out already.
Even when it's dark, what's dark? It's like scary.
Oh no, where I was, that's certain places in the world. Where I was, there was actual few hours of real night. You have in certain places in the world.
In Alaska.
Yeah, and Alaska is also close to Russia. You have areas in the world where during the summer it does not get fully dark.
It doesn't get dark. It just
But
looks like
in
it's
this place where I was, also in Leningrad, in Petersburg, is it's famous. It's called in the summer. It's called Bela Noche. Bela means white in Russian. Noche means night. White nights. White nights means in Petersburg, there's a time period then there's only a half hour of nightfall, really dark. So it's called white nights, they call it. So I wasn't there. We went to visit just one day to go. It's a beautiful place. We went to go see for a day. We took a evening train, like a sleeping train cabin, and we were there for the day. And at night we went back. So at night we were not like the local people that are there a whole year. They have to struggle with how you deal with the zmanim. So we stayed up till 1 o'clock at night. I think from 1 to 1:30. So then we said our ma'ariv and our shema and everything in that half hour. But if you live there, you can't live like this. You have to rely on a different. You have to rely on some other shittas, and you have to make them. How are they going to live every night like this? What are they going to do for Kriya Shema Deirais in these places? I don't know. How do they do a Shabbos? Havdalah is Sunday morning. There's no Havdalah that night. They're going to wait up till 1 o'clock at night.
I read in Chabad that
the Rebbe never wrote anything about it.
The interesting, they did live. The previous Rebbe lived in Leningrad for a while. He was arrested there. The famous arrest and liberation was when he was living in In Leningrad, it was called then. So what did he do? And that's the question. What did he do? There's some discussions about it. What he did, and remember the Alter Rebbe, the Balatanya, was also imprisoned in Leningrad. He wasn't living there, but he was brought there and imprisoned there. It wasn't called Leningrad; it was called Petersburg, like it's called now, back to Petersburg. So the name keeps on changing over there. It was called Peterburg. They used to say that they said that I think Reb Nachman of Breslov said he had an uncle. His uncle was Reb Baruch Mezhebusher. Reb Baruch Mezhebusher was an anicle of the Baal Shem Tov. He was a bar plukta with the Balatanya, the Alter Rebbe. They disagreed in the Baal Shem Tov's teachings, and there was a machlokes. So when the Alter Rebbe came out of Peterburg and he was freed. There was a big simcha. Yitas Kislev became Doiris. So Nachman said, from Peterburg he got out, but Fetter Baruch, Peterburg sounds like Fetter Baruch, but Fetter Baruch he's not. My uncle Baruch, that he's not going to get away with. That's already Shayna bigger machlekes. Shakaya for joining everyone.
And that place is a certain fish.
Oh, ja, gesund.
Sure, thank you.
Easy meaning.
Easy fast.
Oh man, thank you.
Easy fast.
Yeah, Yashikar, easy fast.
Man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Famous bridge, and people come to see that the Shkia and the Zricha. It's 1 minute and 25 minutes different. The standing, and like now it's Sunday.
Where is it?